All right, so let's start this broadcast with a big story that we're tracking on WION at this hour. Nicola Sturgeon, the First Minister of Scotland, has now resigned from her position. She has said that her decision comes after a long-term assessment. However, she said that she'll remain in office until her successor is elected. Listen in to what Nicola Sturgeon had to say.
Head and in my heart, I know that time is now. That it is right for me, for my party and for the country. And so today I am announcing my intention to step down as First Minister and leader of my party. I have asked the National Secretary of the SNP to begin the process of electing a new party leader, and I will remain in office until my successor is elected.
Nicola Sturgeon has been the First Minister of Scotland since November 2014. That's more than 8 years in the role. This also makes her the country's longest-serving First Minister. The senior SNP Member of Parliament, Stuart MacDonald, described her as the finest public servant of the devolution age. And to give us more updates in terms of what's exactly happening in Scotland, we're being joined in by our correspondent Alex Isaac, who's joining us live from London at this moment. Alex, this is a big announcement by the First Minister of Scotland. Nicola Sturgeon, after having been in charge of Scotland for about 8 years, has now announced that she is stepping down. Tell us what led her to announce its resignation.
It's an absolute surprise that she has made this resignation announcement, because it wasn't that long ago where she was fighting for her party, for the SNP, to push forward for their independence referendum. She even said that at the next election in a couple of years that the party was going to be the referendum party and that they would be focusing on that issue. So a lot of those within Scotland were looking to her to potentially make them independent. But now that she has resigned, she has spoken over the last half an hour with regards to all of the issues that she's felt being in power for not just those over 8 years, but she was also within Parliament for at least 8 years previous to that. She has said that she just felt like she couldn't do what she wanted to do in her everyday life, and she did understand that she obviously wasn't feeling as much pressure as some others, but she did still feel that pressure on her personal life, and it was time that it came to an end. Now, she has said that if she thought that she could stay in power, she would be able to lead the SNP to another victory. But one thing that she didn't really clarify is whether or not the SNP were backing her over this fight for independence that she was pushing so hard for all of her time within government itself. Because there did seem to be a lot within the party who weren't exactly keen on going forward with the referendum and had been a bit outspoken as well. So it looks like whoever's going to be in charge, and she wouldn't comment on that today. She said that she will continue to speak over the next few days, but she wasn't going to speak right now about who potentially would take charge. That person is going to let us understand whether or not that will still be something that the SNP will be pushing forward through. She did say right at the beginning, though, this wasn't a resignation because of things that had happened recently. Therefore, the talk of the gender and the Supreme Court issues that she has been facing, she was trying to put to one side, but no doubt that is playing a part, even though she hasn't clarified that today.
Right, very interesting there. Now, one of the issues that she has said is that she found public opinions about her had become a bit of a barrier to debate. What exactly was she referring to when she said public opinions about her becoming a bit of a hindrance in her disbursing her duties?
Well, she has been quite a divisive character, to say the least. Obviously, COVID put a whole lot of pressure on all of the governments throughout the United Kingdom. And during COVID, right at the beginning, she was really put on a high pedestal. She was trying to help the people and to make sure that everyone was able to get through those tough times. But as we got further and further through the COVID pandemic, she did put a lot of blame on Westminster. And it was clear that every time that she was asked asked about putting more money into the government, about furlough schemes, that she would always go, well, I can't do that because of Westminster. And a lot of people were quite frustrated with hearing the same comments repeated and repeated and repeated. And now, as we're coming into these strikes and the cost of living issues, that is a real focus, excuse me, on all of the United Kingdom and in Scotland as well. And she didn't seem to be really concentrating on that matter. She was concentrating on transgender and gender issues, and she was concentrating on the independence referendum, when people within Scotland were calling out for some clarity on exactly what's going to happen with the cost of living crisis. They keep seeing strikes, teachers' strikes, nurses' strikes. They are ongoing, and she doesn't seem to be answering those questions and putting the blame back on Westminster. So those are the issues that she has been facing, and of course that's going to be leading up to the next election, where, you know, that is what they're going to be standing for. She needs those people behind her.
Absolutely, indeed. Thank you very much indeed, Alex Izat, for joining us and getting us all those updates from there. We'll of course come back to you as more details emerge in this developing story. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.